Well, I would think that within the ufology community, there's a certain amount of tension between the hardcore empirical scientists who are trying to prove it to the basically to the skeptical scientists
Sure.
who want nothing to do with this field. And then you have people who are coming at it from a spiritual perspective, often like yourself, people who have felt that they have had direct contact,
Mm-hmm.
and that there's some tension that these two groups are pulling in different directions.
And in a lot of cases they are, because the desire for physical proof doesn't allow that other side, like Tom Campbell. I'm just going to use him as an example again. He says that he's a guy that's trying to explain a right brain world to a left brain thinker.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the same thing because of the nature of the nuts and bolts of the science side of things.
Yeah.
We may not have the proper technology to actually analyze the signals.
Mm-hmm.
There might, the frequencies that are involved. People always report, these ringing, the sometimes when they're like with the Shabda and the sound current, when you can slow yourself.
Could you define that term?
Sure. Shabda is a Hindu term that simply means sound current, and it's the combination of the frequencies of all things on the planet.
Okay.
And so it becomes a single frequency,
Mm-hmm.
generally fairly high pitched.
Mm-hmm.
So these kinds of things become available. People hear them. They're not quite sure what to do about them. They hear the ringing, sometimes on one side, sometimes on the other. Sometimes it's in the center of the head, but they always feel like it's some kind of transmission.
Yeah.
Now, what if we were able to not think about it, because the first thing we want to do is analyze. What if we just slowed ourselves down, listened deeper, got really quiet, and just listened to it without trying to put identifiers to it?
Yeah.
What I found by doing so is that frequency begins to expand, become lower, and you can almost sense the bandwidth in the various levels of that frequency. It's like the electromagnetic spectrum, which also could be the Shabda in frequency, all of a sudden expanding as we learn to listen deeper. Well, it's still the five senses. We don't have, it doesn't even take a sixth sense.
Well, what I hear you saying is that in addition to this circus of human activity that occurs around the topic of UFOs, there's something else going on, and it has to do with humans discovering their own deep inner nature. And when we do that, when we look deeply into ourselves, we can discover that we are intimately connected with intelligences from beyond the earth.
Absolutely.
Who are in their own way, which is very different than our normal way of communicating, reaching out to us.
Absolutely. And like Neppy has offered that, there's
Vernon Neppy.
Right. There's this 9-dimensional things.
Yeah.
Okay, so each one of those dimensions could have a theme and a consciousness that it relates through that tether through space and time. We just don't know how it works yet because we're still too primitive.
Yeah.
But those people who can travel through time and space have learned that. And the only way that they can is because they've established that frequency that allows them to do so, which can be or hold no malevolence towards anything. Now, Paul Hellier's also made the comment, as being a retired defense minister of Canada, that they've known for decades there is no threat. But yet we need to constantly prepare for one just because that's how we are.
Yeah. That's who we are.
Right.
Not who they are.
Right.